Hard to pinpoint one exact favourite Lions moment. I love the coming together of the team. I love the crack that you'd have with all the players when you'd meet them. You'd competed with them for so long. But for me, I really loved the idea of winning. And with the Lions, that's what it was all about. And so my favourite actual moment would be the last couple of seconds of the second test in Durban in 1997, when the wave of relief kind of goes over you to say you finally won. That Lions tour in 97, we were pretty much beaten up in both the games, the first two tests, and yet we won both of them. But for the last couple of seconds of that second test, the sense of release and relief when you watched Neil Jenkins kick the ball out into touch and you knew you were finally a winner was pretty amazing. You won't see me anywhere on any of the footage. I tore my groin in the last minute of the game, so I was in agony, but I was kind of happy agony, if that makes any sense. I don't have a huge amount of memorabilia. I've kept some of the stuff. It's not really on display. I have a couple of bits that are important to me. I've some elements from my father, and he toured with the Lions in '59, and there's a lovely sense of nostalgia for that. I have a couple of my own little bits. That jersey that I have in there, which looks like a huge jersey now. I was a much bigger man 23 years ago, but it was an important time. You know, we were struggling with Ireland at that stage, and this was a chance to be a winner, and we won on the world stage, and that means an awful lot to me. I've had this picture in the house forever, which is Dad on the tour in 1959, and he's got the camera around his neck, so I got it fixed. The camera was always broken at home. I got it fixed and brought it on tour with me in 2001 and said this would be fantastic. I took photographs of everything, of everyone, to find out I didn't get it fixed properly because none of them came out. But I liked the sentiment was worth it, but the reality didn't quite come up to scratch. The Lions are special for a whole variety of reasons. It kind of shouldn't fit in some ways into professional sport, and yet it is essential in professional sport, essential for the rugby economies in the Southern Hemisphere and for the Northern Hemisphere. And that seems very cold and like brand type stuff that you don't really want to get overly associated with, but the Lions are so much more. And it is the coming together, it is the difficulty of bringing four countries to play in a test in a month's time, having not played together. Rugby is a complicated game. To be able to do that and win is pretty fantastic and amazing, and everything's stacked against you. And there is brilliant camaraderie that's built up for touring on those, for guys who get to know each other, and that's fantastic, and they're friends that last for life. But also the guys you played against. And you don't interact with them too much, but you have a shared existence and a shared memory. And so when you meet them 10 years later at a World Cup or at another Lions tour, socially, there's something pretty spectacular about that too. There's a great joy in going into a Lions change room and looking around and looking at some of the players that are there. And I remember when I was 25 in '97, and you're looking over and there's Ian Evans, and Ian was approaching the end of his career. I used to call him Dad on the tour, and his career had been just magnificent. He was a phenomenal player, and there's a great joy to suddenly play with one of your heroes in it, and to play with someone like Martin Johnson. And Martin was he was an extraordinary captain, and I would have followed him anywhere. We ended up in '97 having a camera crew go around with us for the whole tour, and they had pretty much unfettered access to everything, and you didn't notice them after a period of time. They were good guys. They were unobtrusive guys. So you could be in a restaurant having a meal, and they could be sitting in the far corner and filming you. And there was a lovely sense of camaraderie with those guys. And I remember at the very end, they were doing the final cuts and edit for it, and I got a phone call to say, Woody, you feature a fair bit in this, and we want to run through a few bits with you to see if you're okay with it, because you curse quite a lot in the change room. I said, look, I curse in the change room. There's no secret about that. That's true. I said, go on, play it away. And Like, I was stunned to see that I was involved in it as much as I had been, because they were there all the time. I never spoke to camera once, so I never felt as if I was going to be part of it, so I got a bit of a shock of it actually afterwards, and it was it was interesting. I think it gave people a really good insight into how normal all the guys are, how nervous they were before games. There was a few of us puking in the change rooms before the matches, and this huge sense of nerves and fun and the challenge, and some of the team meetings were pretty amazing. I think each player has a different way of viewing how they are, and so for me in my rugby times, it's a long time since I played rugby now, and I was nervous and played well, or I was relaxed and played well, and I was nervous and played badly and relaxed and played badly. It didn't seem to make any sense as to what happened beforehand. But at that stage, I think we knew we had to win this one, because I didn't think we'd be able to last to win the third one. So we clinged on for that whole game. We were behind for nearly the whole game. We were beaten for pretty much the whole game until Gus got finally popped over the drop goal. His first ever drop goal. Well, successful one. But sure, look, he come at the time, come at the man. It was perfect. I mean, he had I would have said a quiet match, because he just wasn't involved that much in it, but he was like a bloody striker. When he got the chance, he took the chance and banged it over, which is the good thing.